Hello, dear students. I hope that you're doing great. I will go in this video first for a quick revision about plants. So here we have different kinds of plants, the tomato plant, for example, the pepper plant, the carrot plant, and these plants show these green parts, which are the leaves. Leaves are important for the plants since they catch sunlight and they also take in carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide and the sunlight will help the plant to make its own food. There are two different types of leaves. Plants can have broad leaves or needle-like leaves. Plants have also a stem, and stems can be above ground stems or underground stems. This plant, for example, has a green stem, which is an above ground stem. Another type is the trunk. Apple trees, for example, have trunks. Coconut trees have stipes. Green stem, trunk, and stipe are examples of above ground stems. And there are also other kinds. The vine and the cactus stem are also above ground stems. There are 5 different kinds of above ground stems. However, the bulb and the tuber are 2 types of underground stems. The potato plant has a stem that we can eat, which is the potato. This potato stores food. We can consume it, we can eat it, and it is called a tuber. The bulb, onions and garlics, they have bulbs. These bulbs have short underground stems, and we eat their leaves. This carrot, the carrot we eat, is actually a root. It is a root that stores food, so it is a storage root. Okay, let me just go over these one more time. There are 5 types of above ground stems, 2 types of underground stems. What about roots? As I was saying, the carrot is a storage root because it stores food. The carrot is a root we eat. Other than the storage roots, we know the tap roots. Okay, plants with taproot systems show roots with one main line and small side lines. We have also plants with fibrous roots, such as the cacti. Cacti have fibrous roots, which grow near the surface of the soil, and they look like a messy hair. It is, they are not, they don't have a main line. These are underground roots, and the above ground roots are called aerial roots. So there are 3 types of underground roots and 1 type, for aerial roots. These plants, and in order to grow, they use their roots to take in water and minerals from the soil. So this is the soil. They use their leaves to take in carbon dioxide from the air, and they also use sunlight energy. Okay, so the soil, the air, and sunlight energy are things found in nature around the plant to help the plant grow. Plants are found for animals, for example. Rabbits feed on carrots, squirrels eat nuts, different animals feed on different things. So the living things, which are plants and animals, they help each other. Like the plants serve as food for the animals, and the non-living things like the sun, the air, and the soil, they help plants and animals grow. When living things and non-living things interact together, they use each other, we say that we have an ecosystem. Today's lesson is about ecosystems. What is an ecosystem? An ecosystem is a place where non-living things and living things interact. So an ecosystem is made of living things, such as what? Plants and animals. People are also living things, organisms, and non-living things such as rocks, water, the air, the temperature, sunlight energy, water. These all are examples of non-living things. What are examples of ecosystems now? Look at this forest. The first example of ecosystems we're talking about is the forest ecosystem. In this ecosystem, we have living things, which are the animals. Look at the snake. Look at I think this is a leopard. So these 2 animals live on land. They live in the forest on land and not underwater. The bird, this toucan, I think, it also lives on land. These animals use the non-living things found in this forest, such as the rocks to hide behind, such as the oxygen and the carbon dioxide found in the air, the light, the water in the forest. This is the forest ecosystem. It has different kinds of plants, different kinds of animals. These living things, which are the plants and the animals, are using the non-living things in the forest. And since living and non-living things are using each other, or let me say living things are using the non-living things to live, so we say that we have an ecosystem, and right here we have the forest ecosystem. And look how many types of plants there are in a forest ecosystem. Here is another ecosystem. We are underwater. We are in a marine ecosystem, in an ocean, in a sea. We call them marine ecosystems. Fish live underwater, in water. Sponges, sea stars, they live underwater. They live in a marine ecosystem. Same thing. Here in this ecosystem, we have the living things, which are the marine plants, the marine animals, using the floor of the sea, using the water in the sea, using the oxygen found in the water, okay, in order to live. So right here, the living organism, which are the sharks, the swordfish, the different kinds of fish, the sponges, the sea stars, the crabs, they are using the non-living things found in this ecosystem, which is the marine ecosystems. When I say marine, I mean seas and oceans, okay? Salt water ecosystems, and they are different than freshwater ecosystem. Okay, marine ecosystems, they have water that is salty, it tastes salty. Rivers, for example, ponds, for example, are freshwater ecosystems, and they are different than the marine ecosystems. Okay, another type of ecosystems. What is this? It's the desert ecosystem. Did you see how different the living organisms and the non-living organisms in each of these ecosystems? It depends on the presence of water. It depends on the temperature. It depends on lots of conditions that help animals, for example, live in forests and not live in deserts, let's say. Okay, like animals or plants that live in deserts are animals and plants that can support high temperature, and they can stay for a long time without water. Do you remember when we talked about the stem of cacti? Didn't we say that cacti store water in their stems? So this is one, let's say, property that helps cacti to live in desert. Okay. So right here we have camels. Camels are animals that can survive in a desert. It can support to spend a long time without drinking water. These camels live on land. We have the palm trees. These are also plants that can live in desert ecosystem. Right here, the animals and the plants that live in the desert ecosystem, they are using the non-living things found in here, which are the temperature, the sand, the water, and so on. Here we have another ecosystem. How do I know that I have an ecosystem? Because there are non-living things, or we call them also abiotic factors. Abiotic factors are non-living things. The sun is an abiotic factor. These trucks, they are abiotic factors. Water, look at the water. The water in the pond is also an abiotic factor, okay? The air is also an abiotic factor. Everything that is non-living is called an abiotic factor. What about the biotic factors? Animals, for example, are biotic factors. People are biotic factors. Plants are biotic factors. These biotic factors or living things are using the abiotic factors to live in this ecosystem. How is that? People are using houses to live, they are using animals to eat, they are using water to drink. Also, they are using the air to breathe. The animals are using water too, they are using the air also. So there is an interaction between biotic factors and abiotic factors, and this builds an ecosystem. Okay, a habitat. A habitat in an ecosystem is the place where a living thing lives. Let me give an example. Like the house is the habitat for people, okay? My habitat, my house, is different than your house because we are living in two different houses. This means that we are living in two different habitats. The pond is the habitat for the ducks. The barn is the habitat for the cows. So a habitat is a place where a living thing lives. And these living things, they are using sources of food, such as animals and plants. They are using sources of water, such as rain and pond. And they are also using the oxygen from the air to live. Plants are using minerals from the soil. I said this in the beginning. Plants use the roots to take in minerals and water from the soil. So they are using these non-living things in this ecosystem. They are using carbon dioxide from the air. They are using oxygen as well. And they are also using sunlight energy to grow in this ecosystem. Did you see how living and non-living things interact with each other and how biotic factors or living things are using the non-living things to live in a place? So this is an ecosystem. What's an ecosystem? It is a place where non-living things and living things interact. Ecosystems are made with living things and non-living things together. This makes an ecosystem. So an ecosystem is made of biotic factors. The biotic factors are the living things, and abiotic factors, which are the non-living things. In an ecosystem, there are different habitats, like a bird. The habitat of a bird is a tree, for example. So a habitat is the place where a living thing lives, and there are different types of ecosystems. We saw the forest ecosystem. We also saw the marine ecosystem. We said that the marine ecosystem is a salt water ecosystem, and it is different than the freshwater ecosystem. Freshwater ecosystems have normal water or water that doesn't taste salty. And we saw also the desert ecosystems. The biotic factors and the abiotic factors, the living and the non-living things found in the forest ecosystem are different than those found in the marine ecosystems and are also different than those found in the desert ecosystem. In each ecosystem, we have different biotic factors and abiotic factors. And this is all. Thank you for watching.